Well, hey, you, and welcome back to another episode of the Western Hippie Podcast. I'm your host, Michaela, here with my corgis, Tank and Willie. And today is the kickoff of a new series I've been working on for a long time, which is a masterclass series of how to heal different ailments. We're going to start with dogs, we'll go with horses, we'll go into human stuff as well. But as I have been on a health journey with my dog for the last 2 years, I've really wanted to bring what I have learned and share it with you in hopes that it can help you heal your dog as well. So, to kick off the series today, we are going to be talking about IVDD in dogs and how to get your dogs back to perfect health without surgery. And so, the title of today's episode is IVDD in Dogs Recovery Without Surgery. So, without further ado, let's get into today's episode. The first thing that we're going to talk about before we dive in is if you would like a free first aid kit, this is the emergency items that I keep on hand. It includes a workbook as well as a free video training. This is really an awesome resource to help you get started. It includes everything that I always keep on hand. The video training breaks down where I get it, when to use it, how to evaluate which product you need. So I'm not just giving you a checklist of here's what to go buy at the store. I am actually telling you how to use it. So if you would like that, that is linked below in the show notes. Again, it is completely free. There is a little PDF workbook with a checklist that comes with it, as well as about an hour-long video of training breaking down what each product is, where to purchase, and then, of course, how to use it. And the second thing is, after this episode, if you would like one-on-one support for your dog and to create a health plan that is optimal both for you and your pet, because it is also important that your pet's health plan fits in with your lifestyle, I am offering one-on-one consultations. That link is also linked below in the show notes. Perfect. All right. So, disclaimer is this information in this video and podcast is for educational and informational purposes only. It is not intended to replace professional or veterinary advice, diagnosis, or treatment. Always consult with a qualified veterinarian or animal health professional before making changes to your dog's diet, supplements, and healthcare routine. Okay. With all of that out of the way, we can finally get into our introduction. And first, we're just going to cover the basics, which what is IVDD? IVDD, or invertebral disc disease, is a degenerative spinal condition where the cushioning disc between a dog's vertebrae bulge, rupture, putting pressure on the spinal cord. I think I forgot. I was like, wait, what happened? I was like, that's all the definition. Why do I have more words? The reason I have more words is because when I was duplicating, I didn't delete, and we're just gonna leave it in there and keep rolling. Okay, so the symptoms include back or neck pain. Don't you love when you confuse yourself? I'm like, I totally just confused myself. So the symptoms include back or neck pain, stiffness or hunched back, reduced activity, reluctance to jump, dragging hind legs, paralysis, and loss of bladder. The most common breeds that see this condition, IVDD, is Frenchies, Dachshunds, Corgis, Shih Tzus, Beagles, Basset Hounds, and Boston Terriers. Basically, it's dogs that have a long back, and essentially because they have this long back and where their legs are, the weight can start to put pressure on that midpoint of their back, and they can start to hyperextend, and that just puts pressure on the vertebrae over time. And so, how we are going to approach the problem. So, one of the things that is really important to me in everything I do and everything I teach is I don't just want to tell you what to do, because I believe how we think is greater than what we think. I want you to become a well-informed pet owner and have the confidence and reassurance in yourself that if something comes up, I know what to do. And sometimes that knowing what to do can be, I need to go to the vet now. And also, Murphy's Law, if you are out in the middle of nowhere, how can you be prepared that you still know what to do to keep your pet well enough to get to support or to get to help? or in severe cases, if the vet says there's nothing you can do, because I've had multiple clients now where the vet has told the owner that it is time to euthanize, and we have not only healed the dog, but got the dog to be healthier than before it got sick. And so this is the reason that in this masterclass and in the upcoming masterclasses, I don't just want to tell you what to do. I want to teach you how to approach a problem, how to evaluate a problem. And so in all of these classes, starting with this one, we are going to walk through how we are going to approach the problem and why we are going to do what we do. So I kind of just all said all of this. But yeah, my goal in this video is just to teach you again, why we're doing what we do and not just tell you like, do this, do this, do that. Because I want you to be a well-informed and confident, dog mom or dog dad. Okay, so how we are going to approach the situation with IVDD in dogs specifically is we are going to reduce inflammation, and then we are going to strengthen the muscle, the bone, and the joints. A lot of times when we have torques on our joints or our bones, we'll go straight to treating the joints or the bones when actually like the muscles are what's failing and not holding the bones or the joints into place. And so we don't just want to cover one thing. Again, one of my things with holistic healing, I think I'm funny sometimes, and I spell it WHOLICTIC. I think I spelled that wrong because I don't really do well with spelling. Not. Do you have anything like that? Like there's just certain things in life. Am I a good speller? Well, if I have to spell in my head, like out in the air, no. If I can write it down, yeah, I'm all right. And this is one of them. But spelling holistic with a W, meaning we want to look at the whole picture and the whole approach and not just one thing. Because sometimes, again, like with this muscle, the joint is what's taking the torque. The joint is what's showing the pain, but it's actually a side effect from the muscles not being as strong. And so that's why we want to look at these two things when it comes to IVDD. And again, the inflammation is just going to contribute to the pain the dog is experiencing. So we also want to reduce inflammation because when we have too much inflammation in the body, that's when the body and other things start to break down. But when there is low inflammation, that's when the body can start to heal itself. Okay, so first thing we're going to go into with IVDD is at-home treatments. This is stuff you can start to do to optimize your pet's health at home. And so the at-home treatments we are going to cover is we're going to remove the inflammatory foods. If I like keep clicking the right click. We're going to add nutritional foods. We're going to support the liver, support the gut, and then we're going to optimize with healing supplements. Okay, so the first thing with nutritional support is removing inflammatory foods. The problem with kibble. So, kibble basically is just a big pile of inflammation at this point. And there are three main things that are wrong with kibble. The way that they cook and make kibble, so the way we cook food can deplete the nutritional value of the food. And so when kibble is being made, the way it's being processed, it is getting cooked at such a high heat that by the time it's actually getting put on your dog's bowl, the nutritional value content is very, very low. And on top of that, grains and other things are what we call anti-nutrients, meaning there are nutrients in them, but the dog cannot absorb the nutrients in those foods. I was taught this from a guy named Eric Edmeans. I took his course back in like 2017, and he was talking about how a dung beetle can live off dung and get all the nutrition they need. But if we did that, malnutrition would occur, meaning certain animals are optimized to digest certain foods and get the nutritional value they need out of them. It doesn't mean that it's right for every mammal, every animal, and every person. And so just because grains have certain vitamins and minerals in them does not mean the dog can properly absorb those vitamins and minerals. So on top of the minerals and vitamins that are already in it getting cooked out, they're also using ingredients that the dogs cannot absorb the vitamins and minerals that are in them. And in fact, because this is foreign to the dog's body, the dog's body doesn't recognize them. The dog's body actually has to rob nutrition from its cells. And so it puts us in what I would call a negative bank balance of nutritional value. And so that's already the start of the inflammation because now the dog's body doesn't even have the vitamins and minerals that it needs to help itself heal itself. And then the second issue with kibble there's three main issues with kibble. The second one is dehydration. So similar to with the dog's body having to rob nutrition from its cells, when it's like, when you eat just a bunch of chips or a bunch of goldfish or a bunch of Cheez-Its and you just get so thirsty afterwards, it's because there is no water content in that food. And in our primitive days, dogs, animals, we only ate live foods, meaning that food has some water built in it. And so our bodies are used to getting a certain amount of hydration with the foods we eat because that hydration actually helps digest the food. And because kibbles and again, like dehydrated snack foods don't have that, our body has to start robbing cell water from the cells in order to digest the food properly. And so this is putting dogs and humans, if they eat too much hydration too, in a chronic state of dehydration. And this is why we are seeing so many kidney problems pop up in dogs. So that is the second problem with kibble is the dehydration factor. And then the last problem is mass production. And you can look up the studies. I'm going to see if I can find some to link below. I learned this from Dr. Karen Becker, who is she's an amazing resource to learn from. I will link her below as well. But they're mass producing this at such a rate that animals like the beef, the chicken, the lamb that they are using, one, they're just very, very low quality. And then two, since they are mass producing dog food at such a rate, they are not ending the animal that they're using for food. They're not ending their life properly, and they're actually finding trace amounts of euthanasia drugs in certain brands of kibble. And some dogs are basically microdosing. They are not basically, they are microdosing low amounts of euthanasia drugs throughout their life. And there's a hypothesis out there that that's why we are seeing such a spike in cancer, specifically lymphoma, is because these dogs' bodies are trying to fight this drug that is literally designed to for long periods of time. So the first thing we want to do is and really sit down and figure out your budget and do what you can. It is a lot more important to get the good stuff in than it is to get all the bad stuff out. So if you are at a point where, hey, for the budget, I cannot get this completely out, but I can do a whole food topper 3 times a week. Do not be hard on yourself. That is a beautiful place to start. Again, figure out your budget, do what you can, because just getting the good stuff in is going to help your dog a lot. So the second thing is once you have your budget figured out, whether it's, okay, I can do this 3 times a week, or I can do a topper 3 times a week, but I still have to supplement with kibble, do your best to find a higher quality kibble. There's a lot of natural pet stores that have just a higher quality of kibble that's not as mass produced. Again, do what you can. If you are at the point and you do have it in the funds to go completely to a whole foods diet, I want you to be patient because it's going to take some experimenting. The most common whole food diets at this point are raw, lightly cooked, homemade. And the reason I am saying to give yourself some grace and to give yourself the time to experiment is my dentist told me one time, sorry, I got into the dentist chair and he's like, sorry, this chair is a one size fits none. And diet is very much the same. My dogs, I fed raw for almost 2 years. They did not do well at all. I have a couple theories behind this. I'm not going to get into it in today's episode. My dogs do better. And I did try lightly cooked as well. A lot of the lightly cooked foods at the store have too many ingredients. My dogs have sensitive stomachs. And so even if the ingredients are good, like there's 5 different vegetables and 3 different fruits, it was still too much on my dog's stomach. So I have switched to a home cooked, a very bland diet where they're getting their vitamins and minerals, and they're basically just getting a protein and a vegetable. And then I supplement with some bones and stuff here and there because that is what was easiest on their stomach. Again, I experimented this long, so you don't have to. But try things out for 3 to 4 months. And if you're not seeing the results that you want, even if everyone else around you is feeding raw, it might not be what's best for you and your dog. And if everyone else is feeding home cooked, especially if you have a younger dog, raw might be the way to go. So that is the first block of this, is to remove the inflammatory foods and then finding a whole foods diet to start getting that nutrition back in your dog's system. Because when the dog has the proper vitamins and minerals, inflammation will naturally go down as a side effect of getting our proper nutritional intake. Okay, so the second thing we want to support and detox the liver. And why the liver? In my opinion, the liver is the most overlooked organ in the body, not just for dogs, but for horses and humans as well. Think of something that has a very specific chain of events. The way the body breaks down, digests, and detox food, because the natural state of our body is actually to detox. We don't technically need to go on a detox. Our body is doing it all the time. Where we start to see problems is when these key detox organs, like the liver, because the liver is this first detoxifying organ in this process, in this what's the assembly line, if you will. If that's clogged up, then everything else is taking the hit as well. So if the liver can't get the toxins out quick enough, then the toxins, one, are overloading the kidneys and overloading these other detox organs. And then instead of going out of the body through the excretion process, it's going back into the bloodstream and creating this inflammation. So with IVDD, again, we want to get that inflammation out of the body. And if the liver is backed up, instead of this inflammation going out of the body, it's going back into the bloodstream and back into the body. And that is why the liver is so important. And the thing that I focus on the most, I am going to talk about gut health next, but I have experimented with liver health and with gut health, and I have seen faster results quicker I do focus on the gut. Again, we're going to talk about it. But so many people, gut health, gut health. Gut health, yes, it's important. I've seen quicker results, been able to get dogs more relief by focusing on the liver, even over the gut, because especially if you go to a very simplified diet, that takes the tax off the gut. The liver, to get it re-optimized, does need more support. So that's why, again, we want to focus on both. I personally do focus on the liver first through experimentation and seeing just better and quicker and more optimal results with focusing on the liver. So a few things that you can do to support the liver is milk thistle is my go-to. There's also another product called SAMe you can do to support the liver. Dandelion is another great way to support the liver and the kidneys. And there are a lot of mixed tinctures that have milk thistle and dandelion already in them. Animal Essentials is one of my favorite brands. My other favorite brand, who I tend to buy most of my things from, it's a small company out in Connecticut. I believe they're out in Connecticut, called Pet Health and Nutrition Center. Just absolutely adore that company. They write you little notes when they send you your stuff, which I just think is so cute. But their products, on top of everything else they do, is just absolutely amazing. So if I need a liver support supplement, I'm going to Pet Health and Nutrition Center. So those are just some things you can do to start optimizing your dog's liver health. Okay. The second thing is supporting and healing the gut. Again, the gut is important. And I just want to say I do have these in a very specific order for a very specific reason, because this is the protocol that I would go through first, especially if you're optimizing for budget and what's going to work with your lifestyle. I would focus on diet first, then add liver support, then add gut support. And then we'll get to our fourth column here in a minute. And so similar to the liver, especially when there's something called leaky gut syndrome, meaning there's these holes in the intestinal tract of the dog. Again, instead of these toxins getting kicked out through the excretion process, they're going through these little holes, they're going back into the bloodstream and adding inflammation to the dog's body. And so we do want to support the gut because, again, the goal is to get these toxins out of the body and not, keep in this circle of dogs eat toxins, go into the bloodstream create inflammation, da 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 da. Here we go again, round and round. Like we're on the teacups at Disneyland. Fun for a little bit, but not really. So I'll let you figure out if that ride is fun or not. So some ways we can support the gut. Again, a big thing with supporting the liver and the gut is just getting, again, we want to look at toxin content, as we want more toxins going out of the body than we have toxins coming into the body. The start of that is getting a dog food that does not overwhelm your dog's body with toxins in the first place. And then, so that's going to help support the gut in and of itself. But then if we want to start adding herbs and supplements, slippery elm and marshmallow root are my go-to. You do want to get a slippery elm powder. I'll link my favorite below. Because you put the powder, is what I do, is I put the powder in a bowl, you add some water to it, and it creates this gel-like texture. And it's that gel-like texture that coats the digestive tract that can really start to soothe and heal the digestive tract. Marshmallow root does the same. You can do one or the other. You could do both. Animal Essentials has a tincture that has both in them. I have seen better results with the powder than I have with the tincture as far as slippery elm goes, because it does turn into that gel-like consistency when it's still in powder form. It does not do that in tincture form. So if you're going to do one or the other with this one, I would just go with the slippery elm powder. You can get it on a really high quality one on Amazon. Start with that, see how it goes. And then if you feel like your dog needs more support, add the marshmallow root. Um, Pre and probiotics can be helpful. There's a supplement that I'm going to tell you about that does already have that in it, and it has some other supporting herbs and supplements as well. This is not what I focus on. I use the herbs and then the mixture, the supplement mixture I'm going to tell you about, which already has it in it. My dog just didn't do well on pre and probiotics. I didn't notice a difference. So again, this is similar to the diet. You're going to have to experiment because everyone's gut bacteria is different. Everyone's microbiome is different. And so it takes some trial and error and experimentation. So if your dog does well on pre and probiotics, amazing. If they don't feel bad. Don't spend your money on it. Not everyone does well on the same things, and not every dog does well on the same things. And then the last thing is aloe vera, especially if you have a dog that's like prone to heat, like they get hot really easily. Aloe vera is a cooling food in Chinese medicine, and it can just be really soothing and calming to the digestive tract. Just be careful because it is also a mild laxative. So you don't want to give too much. But again, if you just want to help cool the body, cool this inflammation, aloe vera, whole leaf aloe vera juice can be very, very supportive for not just our dogs, but us as well. And then the last thing is supporting and healing supplements. So again, as I had said a little bit earlier, I have a very specific order that these are in for a very specific reason. And the reason that supporting supplements is last is because a lot of people will run to like joint and muscle and bone supplements first. But again, if that is the side effect and not the cause, we don't want to just treat the side effect because the root cause is going to be causing like other issues as well. We want to treat the root because a lot of times when we treat the root, 70 to 80% of the symptoms go away. And my favorite example is actually this. My dog, how I got started on this healing journey is my dog got sick at the end of 2022. It was really interesting because I'd been holistic for myself for quite some time, but I hadn't applied it to my animals, which is really interesting. And then my dog got sick, and I had no other choice but to apply my philosophy for humans to my dogs. And so my dog gets sick. I take him to the vet. He's on antibiotics for, I think, 2.5 weeks. He goes from being able to jump and get on the bed, get in on the couch, get into my truck to The Walking Dead. I had to start picking him up to go outside. He was vomiting 3 to 5 times a night. He was losing weight drastically. Like it was just terrible. Well, what really caught me off guard was the stiffness and not being able to walk. And I was like, this is so interesting. And essentially what happened is from being on the antibiotics, it destroyed his gut, but it also backed up his liver because again, it overloaded the liver. Toxins weren't able to go out fast enough. And I had him on, I think, 6 or 7 different joint supplements at the time. I had him on deer antler. I had him on glucosamine. I had him on, I think, curcumin. I had him on collagen. And then I read this theory about the liver. This was, again, at the end of 2022. I take him off all the joint supplements and I just do a liver detox. And he's 80% better within 4 weeks. And then after he got to that 80%, then I added a joint supplement just to give him more support. But for me, it was really cool to see when we treat the root cause, look how much everything else improves. And instead of doing 7 supplements, I'm doing a liver support supplement and a joint supplement, and my cabinet doesn't look like it should be a store. It actually still does because I love keeping things on, but you know what I mean. So that's why this is last, because we always want to treat the root cause, see how much things can improve, because especially with dog health, less is more. And so once we have the liver optimized, we have the gut optimized, then we start again. If your dog's in severe pain, which we'll get into this in creating an action plan section of this, we do want to add things to help relieve pain just so the dog can function. But if the dog is functional, this is why I would add this last. And what I would do is I would do curcumin, which is it's turmeric, but it's processed a little more, but processed in a good way. Turmeric is actually very hard for the body to absorb. Curcumin is more processed, so so it's just a little easier for the body to absorb. I've gotten way better results with curcumin over turmeric. Collagen, especially for IVDD in dogs, this is just going to help with the cartilage and start rebuilding the joints and supporting the joints. Amino acids and creatine, again, to support the muscles. So the muscles are strong. So it's helping hold the bones and joints in place. And then the last thing is my favorite supplement, which I will link below, is Epigenius. This has the probiotics in it. It also has joint support in it. It has MSM, deer antler. It also has chlorophyll, which is a green supplement to help optimize the blood and purify the blood. For what this supplement has, I've spent thousands of dollars experimenting with supplements. This is by far the best all-in-one supportive supplement I have ever seen, which is why I feed it and why I'm telling you about it. Okay, so next is at-home therapy. So once we get diet and nutrition dialed in, there are some other things we can do at home to start optimizing and helping support our dog. One is a grounding mat. So dogs that live outside heal faster than dogs that live inside. The grounding mat can just help. It plugs into the wall, just works on the grounding part of the electrical circuit, and can help bring the benefits of the outside inside and help neutralize the inflammation in a dog's body. The second thing is red light therapy. Again, this just helps reduce inflammation and can be very supportive for dogs. And you can find good options. They can be into the thousands of dollars, but you can also get some on Amazon for 20 to 30 bucks. A PEMF mat. I personally do not have experience with these, so I can't really speak on them. I have heard from other people they are really supportive, so I wanted to put this on here as a resource if you wanted to look into it more. Equiscope, this is going to be on the higher end of things, and Equiscope is $50,000. But there are people that work on horses that have them. So if you have a friend in the horse community, I did want to include this as an at-home therapy because some people do have them at home. But this I actually absolutely love the Equiscope. I've used it on myself. I've used it on my horses. I've used it on my dog. So if you know someone that has them, you can use Equiscopes on dogs. And then a Chi series laser. This is a laser that replicates acupuncture. There is a little bit of a training curve that goes with it, but I will link this below as well. And you can use it to hit the acupuncture and acupressure points in your dog and help open up that blood flow and support their back or their liver and anything like that. I have one. I absolutely love it. So I want to put it on here because it is a great option. But yes, there is a learning curve with it. So alternative treatments, and don't put it in the eyes, by the way. That is one of the learning curves. Don't put the Chi laser in the eyes. Okay, so alternative treatments. These are treatments that you would not do at home. These are treatments you would go seek out elsewhere. The first thing is the EE system. This is what I just call it's a electrolyte for the cells. It's a boost for the cells, and especially if your dog is not doing well. Again, we'll get into it, but what I would call code red. The EE system is just so supportive on getting your dog back up to a baseline. My friend's wiener dog who had IVDD that I helped her rehab, this was actually the main thing in her rehab journey. She was originally quoted $5,000 just to do an MRI and then $20,000 to do a surgery. She went to, I believe, 1 or 2 treatments of the EE system. The dog was completely healed for less than $400. And it's been 6 months. The dog has had no relapse symptoms. I've seen this system help pull dogs out of kidney failure, liver failure, because basically what it does is it uses what's called scalar energy waves. So a very similar therapy that would be used in laser therapy, and it just charges all the cells. And when the cells of the body are healthy, so is the dog. So this is something, if your dog, again, we'll talk about it, is in code red, that I would look into right away. The second thing is acupuncture and laser therapy. I'm going to clump these together a little bit because most acupuncturists will I just forgot that I forgot to include a link in the slide, so I'm going to mention it later. I did not include a place where you can go find an acupuncture or laser therapy vet. So I'm saying this out loud. So when I'm editing, I will remind myself that I will link this in the show notes. But most acupuncture vets do laser therapy. Again, my acupuncture vet told me this philosophy, and it's been my favorite philosophy of the goal with holistic and natural healing is not that we don't need more invasive treatments at times. It's that we start with the least invasive treatment and we go go more invasive as necessary if we are not seeing results with the dog. Because what she had seen in her practice is most people went to acupuncture as a last resort, when in an ideal scenario, acupuncture and laser therapy would be a first resort, because if the dog can get better with that, then they don't need these more invasive treatments. And the cool thing is dogs respond very, very well to acupuncture and laser therapy. Again, one of I know two acupuncture dog vets in my area. One of the acupuncture vets that I know, she was treating a slip disc in a dog. Again, they said the dog was going to need surgery. The dog had two acupuncture treatments of for IVDD, or I think this one was might have been a slip disc and not IVDD. Dog was completely back to walking within the two treatments. So again, that's not all the cases for every dogs, but both of these therapies can be very, very beneficial and very helpful. And a lot of dogs will respond very quickly to both of these things. And then the last thing is ozone therapy. Uh, for a dog with IVDD or any kind of chronic pain, I would use ozone as a last result. If the chronic pain is from an infection or a bacterial overload, then I would consider doing ozone first. The thing with ozone therapy is if a dog's pain receptors are turned on, meaning the dog is more on the defense mode, ozone therapy is more invasive and can activate those pain receptors and just be a very uncomfortable experience for the dog. So I would actually, for IVDD specifically, if you have a dog with an infection, I would use ozone as one of the first treatments I would look into. For this specifically, again, this is more if a bacterial or a viral infection is creating the inflammation, this would be helpful. But if I have a dog that's in severe pain, I'm going to look into the acupuncture, the laser, or the EE system that is hardly invasive at all. So the dog is not put into more pain during the actual treatment process. But I did want to include it on here because it's a great resource. It's a great thing to know about and just a really great thing to keep in your back pocket if you need it for future events. We'll call it that. Okay, so how to find a treatment center. So to find an EE system, you can just Google visit an EE system. You can also go to unifiedhealing.com/locations. You can put in your zip code and find an EE system. Not every, they're called two things actually. There's kind of a little bit of drama in the EE system/light system community. They're franchises. The drama has nothing to do with the owners. It has to do with the founders and creators of the system. The system in itself is still amazing. So you go to unifiedhealing.com/locations or visit an EE system, and it'll either come up as EE system. This is why I told you about the drama, because there's two different names for it now. It'll either come up as EE system or it'll come up as light system. It is the same technology. Not all centers offer pet sessions. Most of the centers that I've been to and the owners I've met are very compassionate. If you call them, if your dog is in a severe scenario, explain the situation. Not all of them, but some of them, if even if they don't allow pets, but it's the only one near you, will make after hours exceptions. So again, on the website, even if you see that they don't allow dogs, don't be afraid to call and ask and explain the scenario, because all the owners I've met have just the most genuine hearts and genuinely want to help people and their animals heal as well. So that's where you can find an EE or a light system. The second thing is acupuncture, and see, I just, it dawned on me. I did not put the link. Acupuncture and laser therapy. This is not the right link. This is the link for ozone. So I will link the acupuncture and laser therapy link in the show notes and in the comments on YouTube. Ozone therapy is o3vets.com/pages/vet map. Again, you put your zip code in and you can find an ozone vet near you. And then I'm in Oregon. If you are in the Oregon area, these are my favorite vets and vet clinics. In Eugene, Oregon, there's Balance Vet Care. They do ozone therapy. They also do nutritional therapy. Terry Sue and her crew are just absolutely amazing. When my dog got sick, I had been to 4, maybe 5 different vets, and these guys were my last stop. I had lost so much hope in the veterinary industry, and these guys just absolutely restored my hope in the veterinary industry. So if you're in the Pacific Northwest near Eugene, Oregon, I highly recommend them. I also, in Eugene, Oregon, the same building as Dr. Terry Sue and her clinic, Balance Vet Care, is also Eric Verdeau. He does like a physical therapy. So it's a light, non-invasive, there we go, non-invasive treatment for physical therapy and chiropractor, because with IVDD, I wouldn't go chiropracting my dog right away because, again, it can it can really trigger some pain, where the way Eric does it is non-invasive and it's very light. I've seen dogs not be able to walk in and walk out of his clinic. So again, if you're in the Eugene, Oregon, Eric Verdeau is in an amazing option. Um, and then for acupuncture and laser therapy in Oregon City, Dr. Becky Jester, just absolutely amazing. She does acupuncture and laser therapy. So if you're in the Oregon City area or within an hour or two, these are just the people in Oregon that I know and have used and recommended. So if you're watching this from the Pacific Northwest, I wanted to include these because, and I just love them and I wanted to give them a shout out. Okay, so creating a healing protocol. We've talked about a lot of things, and another one of my goals is to create simple action plans for you to take away. It's like, okay, Michaela, my head's a little full. That was a lot of information. How do I actually put this into action? Don't worry, I got you. The first thing we want to do though is we want to scale your dog's health. So I use a color coding system because one of the things that we don't want to do, we don't want to use fear-based language. So to give us an objective of like, what do I need to do without using fear-based language, I use color coding. Because it's just a really easy way of like, we need to do something without like, you know. Anyway, so code red. You know what I'm trying to say without saying it. So code red your dog needs radical attention now. They're not walking, eating, drinking. Code red is what I would call we're on death's doorstep and we need to get their butts off now, yesterday. If your dog is in code red, we want to go seek a treatment now. We want to go find a holistic vet now. Code orange. This needs attention now, but it's not like radical attention. This is the difference between my butt's on fire versus the fire's catching up to me, is how I would describe the difference between code red and code orange. So the dog needs attention now. They're not walking, they're in pain, but they're still eating and drinking, wagging their tail. There's still like life in the dog. If your dog is here, I would also start with treatment and finding a holistic vet. If we're at code yellow, we need to get the ship turned around. Discomfort is present, mild symptoms, but the dogs are still doing regular activities. They're just not doing those activities well. So maybe they're going on walks, but they can't walk as far as they used to. Maybe they're still jumping on the couch, but they take some time and you can tell that there's just some pain up around that spinal area and they're just not quite as mobile as they used to be. If your dog is here, use your discernment. For a lot of us as pet owners, a treatment, even at code yellow, can be very helpful to just see the dog get some improvement and makes us feel better. And if you're at the place where, hey, a treatment's not really in the budget, I would rather start at home, just use your own discernment, use your own intuition, and decide if your dog's at code yellow, where you need to start. But at code yellow with my clients, as well as with myself, I really decide either way. Can I treat this at home? Do I need to go to get a treatment? Or can I do kind of a hybrid of both if we're at code yellow? So I've got two code greens. I've got code green O, which I called green optimize. It means a dog is in good health, but we want to optimize their health for longevity. So this would be like if you're watching this and you have a Basset Hound, you have a Corgi, you have a Frenchie, and you just know that they're prone to this. They're really healthy now, but we want to optimize so we don't get this later. This would be code green O. We're trying to optimize, we're trying to prevent so this crap doesn't happen in the future. So if your dog is here, I would just start by optimizing, consulting someone like me who does holistic pet health consultations, finding a holistic vet, and start optimizing their diet and supplement routine at home. And then lastly, we have code green P, which is green perfect. Dog is in perfect health. You have a longevity plan in place. You have a prevention plan in place. You feel confident of this is what I need to do. If this goes wrong, if your dog is here, you're doing amazing. Keep doing what you're doing, and keep trusting yourself. And just, if you want to, just keep growing your knowledge because it's fun. So this is the entire scale when we see it in its entirety. And so now that we've gone through all the codes, code red, code orange, code yellow, code green O, and code green P, where is your dog at right now? Because now we are going to go into what is our treatment plan based on where, and my little camera is hiding the word plan, but behind my camera is the word plan. So now we're going to go into, so decide where your dog is at and then start approaching it based on what treatment plan we're in. So if they're in code red and code orange, again, we're going to approach it very the same. We're going to find a holistic vet. We're going to get to an EE system. We're going to optimize an EE system, acupuncture or laser therapy, either one. I forgot to put it on there. We're going to start optimizing diet at home. And then we're going to start pain management treatments at home, such as homeopathy, curcumin, or at-home therapies if they're available to you. Again, at this point, I'm not going to wait for the liver to be fully detoxed. I am going to start the dog on some kind of pain management. Homeopathy, if you have a dog that's super health impaired, meaning their liver's backed up, their kidneys are backed up, I'm going to start something like homeopathy because it's really easy for them to absorb. You can do stuff like for IVDD, I would do Restox. I would also do arnica, and then maybe some belladonna in there for the inflammation itself. I would do a mixture of that, and I would start pain management right away. I wouldn't wait for the liver to detox. I wouldn't wait for the gut to be optimized. I would start looking to get the dog some relief now on top of getting a holistic vet, getting some things in place, getting them to an EE system to get them out of that extreme pain, optimizing their diet. The one thing, if a dog is in extreme, and definitely consult your vet on this one, if they're in extreme cases, sometimes a fasting protocol can also be very supportive. So their body can start focusing on healing and not digesting food. You can do fasting with goat milk. You can also do fasting with bone broth. Again, we're in code red, we're in code orange. We don't have time to F around and find out. We got to start getting this dog healthy now. So code yellow treatment plan is going to be a little bit similar to code red and code orange because again, you're going to use your discernment on what is best for you and your dog in this moment. Again, they're not bad, but it's like we need to get them back into code green. So if I have a dog in code yellow that I don't feel like they need a treatment, but I just want to start seeing results, I'm going to optimize diet. I'm going to start supportive supplements. This is when, if I've got a dog in code yellow, this is when I am going to go through the protocol. I'm going to detox the liver. I'm going to support the gut. I'm going to give that 3 to 4 weeks, if not 6 to 8 weeks. And then I'm going to start adding these supportive supplements to their protocol. With exception of the Epigenius, I would add that right away because it has things to support the gut and to support detox and stuff like that. I'll link that as well. Find a holistic vet. Again, you don't necessarily need to go see a holistic vet if your dog is in code yellow. I would establish a relationship with them. And if even if they just have phone consultations, one of the things that when my dog was sick, I wish I would have had just the support already in place. So again, if something does go wrong, on top of like already being concerned about my dog, I don't also have to worry about finding a vet or a support crew. So even if your dog's in code yellow, I would find a vet just so that relationship is already established. So if you do need more help, you don't have to find it when you need it. Um, and then if you want to give your pet a boost and just get them feeling good, it's in the budget, it feels right. You can go to an EE system or acupuncture or laser treatment, or if someone has an equiscope, again, this can just really help get your dog feeling good. And again, we feel good when they feel good. So it's kind of a boost. It's kind of a boost for us too. So code green O. I don't think I didn't. I was like, wait a minute. I'm like, I don't think I switched my little bullet points. I did not. So I'm gonna pull the bullet points from my head. Okay. So in code green O, at this point, I'm just gonna optimize the food, and then I'm going to look at the ailments that are most common in my breed of dog, and I'm just gonna start supporting their body now. A lot of that is just you can do a liver support or a liver support, but you can also just put in the plan of I do a detox and a cellular detox like twice a year for my dog. And this is just putting in an overall health plan in place. We make sure our diet's good, we make sure they're on the proper supplements, and then we have a detox plan that we're running like maybe twice a year or 3 times a year, depending on what kind of toxins your dog is exposed to. At this point, I would also, if you haven't already, establish a relationship with a holistic vet for all the reasons that I said on the last slide. Okay. Green pea treatment plan. You're good to go. Keep doing what you're doing and give yourself a high five because you're doing great. You have everything optimized. You have a health plan in place. You have a vets in place that you know, a support team in place. You're good to go. Okay. So my final thoughts and reminders. I think I forgot to put this as well, but keep it simple and meet yourself where you're at. That was something I learned when I was showing horses is, a simple plan that you can execute well is better than a complex plan that you cannot execute at all. So meet yourself where you're at. If you can only start with food, start with food. If you can only do 3 times a week, start with that and just slowly optimize and do the best you can with what you have. As I said before, I have a free first aid kit that I'm going to link below in the show notes. If you would like one-on-one support, I have consultation spots open. They are all linked below. And also, if you have any questions, you can email me at Michaela at Miss Michaela Mae. Thank you for listening to this first masterclass series from the Western Hippie Podcast. I'm your host, Michaela, here with my corgis, Tank and Willie. And as I always say, in health for not just you, but our beloved pets too. If you found value out of this episode, I would be so honored if you could rate, review, and subscribe. If you're on YouTube, I would love to hear a comment from you, what you found valuable, what you want to hear more of. And if you're on the podcast, I would love for you to leave a review and also telling me the same thing. What did you love? What do you want to hear more of? And how can I support you and your pet on your health journey? Thank you for listening, and we will see you in the next master. Oh, that would be another thing. If you have a specific master class you want a pet ailment, please tell me because I love ideas. Thank you for listening. Take care, and we will talk to you next time.